Konnichiwa, welcome to the Martial Maze. I'm without my partner in crime, Barakulat Chidoshi, so you just have me, Sensei Lopez, or Izzy if you're nasty. All right, I hope everybody is doing well. We are busy. We have a lot going on here at the Martial Maze. We have our third annual gala. That's the Maze Awards. That'll be October 19th, 2024. That is this coming Saturday. I can't believe it. It's going to be here. On that day, we celebrate the best and the brightest in the martial arts community. Well, let me say that again. Some of the best and the brightest in the martial arts community, both past and present. And we do have a special guest MC that's going to be really blasting us through the night and taking us to that next level, and that's Master Ken. And if you do not know who Master Ken is, you better call somebody. Now, I'm not talking about my instructor, Ken Mareki Sensei, because, well, hell, that is Master Ken. No, I'm talking about Enter the Dojo, Amaradote, Master Ken. Yes, that Master Ken. Like I said, he's going to be setting it off. He'll be the master of ceremony, so we're really excited. We're excited to do a thing with him. So, big fan of his show, and we're looking forward to seeing what he brings. If anybody heard the advertisements that went out just promoting the event, he's going to be bringing the truth. So I'm interested. I need to know the truth. I think every martial artist like that wants to know the truth, and he's going to be doing it on the Martial Maze, and what better place to bring the truth is at the Martial Maze, where we help those navigate those complexities and pitfalls that one encounters when they study the complex martial arts. I've just boggled that all over the place. And I have no Barack to reel me in. Oh, God, you folks right now. Run. All right, so I struggle with the title to this episode, and what I really want the themes around. This is obviously a it's going to have multi, if you know me and you're a fan of the show, I'm all over the place. But I'm also have my finger on the pulse, and I'm just always in it. And I live in the martial way. It never stops for me. I'm that dude who goes to class, trains, comes home, meditate on everything we went over in class, and then try to reevaluate and think, how can I add that in, or how can I better improve, whether that be just watching tons of film, how can I be a better coach, a better teacher, all these things that, again, it's a never ending process. It never stops for me. And, maybe I have always had that work ethic or ethic. Am I saying that right? Work ethic? Or maybe inherited from my better half, who, as a school teacher, she just never stops. Hats off to teachers, because they never stop. They're always going 24/7. They don't really get a break. So this came up fairly recently. Another martial artist in the martial arts community hit me up. So when we're going to do an episode about or with another martial artist where we have a vetting process, so we'll kind of look you up online, and then we'll start reaching out. We'll make phone calls and kind of trying to figure out, making sure that you're who you say you are. Because again, reputation's everything in what we do. Yes, I'm quite sure there's plenty of people out there that agree. And we're always, one charlatan away from being discredited, right? That's any martial magazine, right? A black belt took a big hit when they allowed, some of those folks that must not be named right now, but you know who you are, you know who I'm talking about, and took a big hit. With their credibility, their platform's credibility. There are plenty of other platforms that have dealt with this in the past. So it led me to this because, again, me and this other martial artist were having a conversation, and I was saying, hey, have you met? And he said, oh, brother. You might want to walk that one back. You might want to check the process a little bit, because we admit we don't know every martial system. There's so many out there, right? It's like, they all have a foundation and a basis. There was somebody who did a reel that I saw today that I really liked, but I've heard other people say the very same thing. But I really like this reel. I love reels. I always tell people I live on reels. And he was just talking about that the martial arts breaks up into three actual categories, right? You have your striking, you have your grappling and stuff like that, and then you have he listed another one outside the grappling. I think I'm not doing it justice. I think it was the throwing, and then you had the ground fighting or something like that. And he says, and almost every martial system has a piece of this, but most specialize in one of the three. Like I said, I like the way this individual was breaking it down, because it is that simple, right? However, we have different styles. I will say this, in the last part, anybody's ever seen that reel, he gets into Taekwondo at the end, and he talks about how if you train it intensively, you'll be better at it. And part of me wanted to agree, and a part of me was like, well, the way it's being represented here in the United States, it's just not being, I don't know what to call it. I think yes, but there are a lot of martial systems that are like that now, where they lost a lot of respect due to the commercialization, and then again, the phony people getting in, selling a thing, and even not, and some of these guys aren't even phonies though. Some of these guys are legitimate hardcore people who just, their main focus was to make $1, so they stopped caring whether or not they were teaching a quality martial system. They stopped caring about the individual and started caring about that God Almighty dollar. That became that became their main goal. And I guess if that's your main goal, to make some money, then yeah, you're going to teach trash, right? You're not really going to care if anybody gets it. It doesn't matter what system. So the other martial arts and I were going back and forth, and he's like, yeah, again, telling me, brother, you need to check this guy out. He's not who he claims to be, or he has rank, right? He has rank, but he's misrepresenting now, right? And what I mean by that is this guy trained with somebody legitimate up until maybe about brown belt, and then disappeared for a while. Then came back in the game, the way I'm hearing this, and I could be wrong, but the way I'm hearing this, is came back in the game as a 5th degree black belt, right? Because, that's that where no one takes you seriously until you're about a 5th, right? Depending on what art. And then, within a couple of years, he's running around calling himself Grandmaster and claiming to be a Grandmaster. Now, I personally believe that ranks, and I say this all the time, Shodan all the way to Godan, or you could say Rokudan, depending on where you are, right? Godan, but typically 5th degree. So from 1st to 5th are fighting, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 are really teaching ranks, right? So that's when, in most cases, you would probably end up earning a Minkyo Kaiten. And again, it's not a teaching license isn't just given to you. You have to work for it, and then you get it. So you can be a 5th degree black belt and not be able to teach. You're just not a teacher. That's not your thing. It's not meant for everybody, right? It's not a one size fits all. And then move on. And then there's the people who have it, and then work and get your Minkyo Kaiten, get your Certified Safe Sport. You do all these crazy things to continue with your education to be better, because you're now coaching, you're now teaching. And that is a different animal, completely. It really is, than being a 5th degree. So the easy way to always see that is if you get somebody who's really a teacher, who spends more time teaching, and you get a 5th degree black belt who spends more time just training, the fitness level between the two is definitely different. Because if you're teaching, you're not really training. If you're spending as much time training as you are teaching, then you're really not teaching well. I don't care who you are and what you're trying to say and what you're trying to sell. You're missing somebody in your class is missing the lesson because you're training at the same time. We've all tried it though. Hell, I know I have. I get into the dojo and I'm having the guys do a little grip fighting randuri, and I'm thinking, man, you know what? If I just sit here and watch, I'm going to get bored. So what do, I jump in. I try to work with every student, though. I do. Every teacher has a different way of going about it. So, but that way, in my mind, I'm still getting that little work in, but I get to take breaks. I have to still stop, and instruct a little bit, have a conversation. If I see a lesson needs to be walked back, or we need to revisit a part that they're missing, right? Maybe they're not off balancing to the right direction or something like that. I know there's plenty of teachers out there that know what I'm speaking about, but there's that.
Konnichiwa. I'm Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze. Right now, you might be asking yourself, what is the Martial Maze? Well, I'm here to tell you. The Martial Maze is a martial arts podcast that deals with the complexities and pitfalls that one encounters when navigating the field of study that is martial arts. These discussions are from the points of view of actual martial artists, and we cover it all, with the occasional special guest, who of course are masters in their fields of study. From the president of the United States Judo Association to karate and kung fu royalty. Myself and Barakulat Shidoshi have over 40 plus years of martial experience. So please join us as we make our way through the martial maze. New episodes drop weekly, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Circling all the way back to the beginning, though. So I get told you need to really check this guy out, and I do. And it, like I said, it turns out that this person shouldn't really, and it was asked by another individual in that martial community. It was like, hey, don't come to our events, because I guess this individual was trying to further his fraudulent lineage by saying that he was training with these people. And those folks were like, oh, no, he comes to our events. So the question of today is, having a charlatan attend your events, no matter what they are, does it devalue your event? Does it put the stank on you? And the short answer, I would say, well, no, it doesn't put the stank on me. It puts the stank on that person, right? But that charlatan, if you don't catch it right away, he's got pictures, you and him together. And he attends your seminars, he attends your places, and and he comes out to dinner after the seminar, after the tournament, and he's got pictures of everybody toasting it up, and he's in there, or she's in there, and they got every picture, when you got your hands up and you're just trying to teach something, and it might have been, he might have just been the ukiyo-use, or she might have been the ukiyo-use that one time, right? But they got that. Right? They got that photo. And then they got the photo of them all together. And then, at the end of every seminar, whatever, everybody kind of gets together and then kind of poses and stuff. And then when they go to the Hall of Fames and stuff like that, you get to meet all these different martial artists from all over the place. And you're taking pictures, you're posing with them. You got a little trophy, and he got his trophy, and the other guy's got his little trophy. And they're not really, no one's paying attention. The layman person that doesn't really pay attention when they see those photos. They don't look to go, oh, you got your contribution to the martial arts achievement, or whatever, and it's a game, it's a hustle, and that person or that individual's hustling. Like I constantly say it on the show, and I'll say it even right now, is that every really good lie has truth to it. There's a bit of truth wound up there. It's like the tall tale, right? Like the person who caught the fish. They did catch a fish. I mean, it's a pumpkin seed, but when they done telling that story, man, it was like, mackerel? What are the big-ass fishes? You know what I'm saying? And the only flaw to the story is, or they said, like, they caught a big-ass tuna, right? But they caught it at a lake. Now I'm kind of wondering, could you catch a tuna in a lake? I don't think so. But it's that kind of thing. So there's a flaw that gets caught out there, a little flaw in the story, and the trained eye might catch it, right? An individual might catch it. They'll be like, well, wait a minute, that's a saltwater fish. How'd you catch one in a lake, or something like that, right? I'm hoping I'm saying, or a marlin. That's what I'm thinking of, is a marlin. I guess I need to go fishing. Because I got fish in my brain right now. But they do the very same thing in the martial arts. And there are platforms. You got McDojo Life, which I love that platform. They expose, or he exposes, the sex offenders in the martial community along with fraudulent people. And then there's tons. That's just one of my favorite. Then there's Bullshido. You don't see so much from them brothers. I hope they're still doing a thing. I just don't see their content as much anymore. I think it's more than one person, but it could just be the one person and stuff like that. And of course, we talk about things, but we really don't point. And I always said that, look, I want to take this from a place of education. I don't want to point the finger at somebody, because we could be wrong. Remember, all of this stuff is still opinion based to a degree. Now, we add our lifetime experience doing the martial arts. We add in some facts they're not opinion and stuff like that, But teach their own, I guess, ultimately, where I would tell you that you need to have your Minkyo license, right? You need to have somebody evaluating you to make sure that you can teach. There's somebody out there goes, no, 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 no. Who are you? Who are you? Or who's that federation to tell me what I can and can't teach, right? It's myself and Haskins Sensei, we had a conversation a little bit about this today. Not getting off topic, but this is all kind of related, where Marshall Peer, I was just bouncing something off him, was told by their instructor when they had a falling out, that I don't want you teaching my stuff. And I know Barack and I have had this conversations about this in the past, and I'll continue to say this. Once, and I love Haskins' analogy, so I'm going to use that first. Haskins says that if I have a toolbox and I have a spare wrench and I give you that wrench, why would I tell you not to use that wrench? Right? How are you going to, here's this wrench I'm going to give to you so that you can fix your fence. You can use whatever you need to do, but none of you can't use that wrench. Then why I give it to you in the first place if you can't use it? If I want to maintain some kind of control on that, I feel like I can disassociate myself from the person, and Haskins said basically the same thing. When I give you information, it's yours. If I teach you something, a principle, it is yours. We have a saying in Judo, play your Judo. If another coach comes up and says your arm's too low and this, that, and the third, once that information is given to me, it then becomes mine. I have it. It is mine. And I'm going to do with it what I will. I could either just throw it away in the garbage or utilize it and make me better or but ultimately it is mine. And if I have a falling out with you, I can tell you, oh man, don't tell people we're associated anymore. But what I can't do is say to you, don't use the art that I've given you, that I've taught you. I owe no claim to it anymore. It's gone. I gave it to you. I think maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I believe that no different than if I gave you a material object. If I give you a car, give you the title, sign everything else to you, and then you and I have a falling out, I can't go to your house and take your car. Right? I damn sure can't tell you can't drive your car anymore. So it's silliness. I never could understand that. But in this particular case, right, going back, because, I'm all over the place like always. When a charlatan is allotted to go to attend these events, and then that person is fake or that person's not, or misrepresenting themselves, the question then becomes, do we call that person out, right? I mean, there's ways I think that you can go about it. You can kind of pull that person aside and say, yo, brother, man, look, man, you can't jump rank like that. That don't work that way. I mean, especially if you're my age walking around as a grandmaster, that's just, I don't even know what that is. Because we know, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you right now, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are all political rank. Meaning, what did you do for the martial arts? Right? What did you do for your community? Did you write books? Do you have your students who now teach other students? What are you doing? What have you contributed? Right? And if no one's heard of you, right, except this little small neck of the woods, you didn't really contribute a whole lot now, did you? So how can you walk around claiming to be, a grand master, right? A grand, you got the highest high, the high title and stuff like that, right? Or even walking around, even if you don't do the whole grand master thing, just walking around saying I'm a 9th, I'm a 10th, but no one knows you, except for a small handful of people, and those people are your students. No one else knows you. So how'd you get promoted? If you're the highest person in your school, right, and there's nobody else higher, and then you didn't go around other people in the market, and like I said, no one knows you. How did you become a grand master? Oh, I'm going to tell you that's suspect, sir. That's suspect. And we're going to look at you funny. As somebody who hosts events, as someone who we have a platform where we interview folk, and we're kind of putting that on the spot, right? because a thing that does come up a lot is there are certain martial systems that are great sports, right? They did very well, and they were designed to really just be sports, a sport version of a combative system. Judo being one of them, right? Judo is an amazing sport. I think sometimes the sport is getting rid of the martial art part of it, but they brought back leg grabs, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, shit. Oh, happy days are here again. I gotta tell you. Hopefully they bring back some of the oldies but goodies. I'd just be happy if they bring back a morote gari. For those that don't know what a morote gari is, it's kind of like a double leg takedown, but it's really a reap if you're doing it properly. You're not just kind of plowing and crashing into the guy that's with the side head. You really reap the person's legs down out from underneath them. And sometimes can look like a sidewalk slam without lifting the guy up, especially done correctly. But you got a Sakui Nagi that may find its way back in, so we're hoping. But for us Katagoroma guys and Take-Aroma guys, just the fact that I can grab on that leg, hot diggity dog, thank God. They did it in Japan. Hopefully it comes here. We're hoping. We got fingers crossed. But it's nice. It'll be happy days again. Help diversify judo a lot more, because that just opens the door for more players, right? BJJ guys, come on, the door's open. Come in. The water's just fine. The wrestlers, come on in. Come on, the water's just fine. Anybody wants to grapple, Sambo? Come on. We'll take you. Hell, we'll train with you. I think everybody. Yeah, we're gonna get some of that good Gucci. We good. Happy days. But it's a sport, right? It's not real fighting. It's a sport, and yes, it could you can take parts from judo and make them good for real life self-protection, self-defense. But here's the thing: in the sport of judo, I can throw you so hard that I get the ippon, and then when we hit the ground, you land on top of me, right? Like, meaning your back hit the ground first, and then you rolled, and then you ended up on top of me because I came with so much force, so much power, right? And I get to score in judo. Now, if I did that in real life and you ended up on top of me, well, that's it's not going to work out too well for me. All right, be in bottom position at that point. You got knee on belly, and let's say you know what the hell you're doing. So there's that. Yeah, not a good place. But in the sport context, I can do X, Y, Z, right, and stuff like that. I can't eye gouge. And it's not changing or what's the word I'm looking for? Moving the goalpost. It's just putting each system, being able to understand that this is a sport and this is real life. Kempo was never meant to be a sport first and foremost. Come on, let's be honest, right? It wasn't a sport. It's designed to. They took some things and they said, hey, we can make a sport out of this. They got some of the point fighting stuff, but when you look at some of the things that you use in Kempo or Kaju Kempo and stuff like that, is eye gouging, you breaking fingers and doing all this other crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? You hitting to the knee joint. You can't have a tournament like that. Guys will all be broken. No one can do it. Tournament's over, right? So I'm using those two as examples, but the problem I have is when folks take the judo, because you can't fake a throw, right? Either you're going to get thrown, even though I have watched some people. There's this one reel where the guy's doing an ouchigari that really wouldn't work in real time. It won't work in real time. I would love to say, bro, try that. But it might work against a fish. Who knows, right? Because, judoka are typically masters of being on balance. That's what majority of that's one of the key things that judo teaches you. Maximum efficiency, minimum strength and effort. But if you're a judoka, you're especially by the time you make shodan, you're probably one of the hardest people to take off balance, no matter what kind of club you belong to. If you're just a straight up a grassroots martial arts club or like one of the more hardcore sport clubs, it's probably next to impossible to get you on the ground, and stuff, especially if you don't want to be on the ground because you spend a lot of time mastering being on balance.
Hello, this is Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze. If you're a fan of our podcast or our YouTube channel, The Martial Maze Presents Modern Combatives, did you know that you could support future episodes on both platforms by becoming a subscriber to our Patreon? Membership entitles you to exclusive Marshall Mays content not shared on either the podcast or our YouTube channel, The Marshall Mays Presents Modern Combatives, as well as limited edition only available to our Patreon subscribers merchandise. That's exclusive stuff, y'all. Where there are 3 different tiers to choose from, bronze, silver, or gold memberships, gold being the very best. No matter what tier, and to show our appreciation for you, the subscriber, and to celebrate our 4th season of the Marshall Mays podcast, we are giving away to one lucky subscriber every month free Marshall Mays merchandise. That merchandise is anything that we sell on our Marshall Mays page. That's www.marshallmays.com. A new winner will be chosen each month through the duration of 2024. That's our way of sincerely saying thank you. But please keep in mind, you can't win if you're not a subscriber. That's the Marshall Mays at Patreon. And once again, thank you for becoming a subscriber, and thank you for listening.
Where something like the Kempo doesn't film well, just doesn't. And you'll look at the comments. Like I said, I watch a lot of reels, but I also know guys that trained in Kempo, Kaju Kempo. And even some of the people that I filmed, somebody said, oh, that would never, oh my God, why did you film that guy? It will never work in a million years. Until I said, yeah, then go fight that guy. Oh, no, you're just saying that you're moving the goalpost. No, just go fight that guy. If you don't think it works, grab him. See if it works. Pick a fight with him. But don't call it bullshito, first off, because you don't know what you're talking about when you use that term that way. But don't say it's fake or it don't work if you don't understand in the context and what it's being used for or what it's being trained for. Now, I can say that person might not have the knowledge, right, or the working knowledge, and I get it. I can't fathom training with anyone who's never fought, whether it be sport or real life. I can't fathom that idea of training under anyone who's never been punched. How are you going to tell me about receiving a strike if you've never been struck? It's pressure tested in the dojo. I guess, maybe. Here's the thing. I don't know about your dojo, but I know in mine, I'm never really under duress like that. Even some of the more hardcore dojos that I've been to where everybody's really blasting, they're hitting each other. And, even when they're breaking ribs and stuff. But in the end of the day, that guy's not trying to kill you. He's hitting you a little hard. He's being a little more intense, but he ain't going to kill you. There's some safety there. And but don't get me wrong, I don't want my rib broken either. So I'm going, so I got that hyper awareness that kind of comes with it. You can only take it so far, and stuff. But understand that I guess that becomes the complex part, is being able to understand that, well, that's not bullshit. That person, just that art doesn't film well. Or it just, unless you really taste it, unless you've been hit in that pressure point and watched your arm go dead, it's really hard to talk about muscle disruption. You know what I'm saying? And if you never felt it, And then the people that have felt it will tell you, yeah, that kick looked effortless, but the reason why that guy fell the way he did wasn't fake. It's because you shut down that nerve. And bro, I'm like, here, let me tell you what, let me hit you with the pop and on the ground. Oh my God. I did that to one of my students, just showing him an effortless kick. And it's effortless. There's no wind up, there's no nothing. It just hits you and you drop. And doesn't matter who does it. They do it correctly. Don't matter. There's really no real training to stop it from happening. Once it happens, you end up feeling it. In most cases, your leg goes dead and stuff like that. Then it comes back and you got a serious Charlie horse. But there's that. There's plenty of videos on it. There's plenty of folks out there doing it. And when you watch it happen, it's kind of right up there with the kung fu chop. I love saying that. And anybody who knows what I'm talking about knows that it doesn't look like it'll work in a million years. And every person who's been told, including myself, don't do it to another person. Do not do it to another. All we heard as martial artists back then were, please do this to another person. Do this as soon as you see someone new and hit them with the kung fu chop. And it does work. It works scarily well. I just made up a word. It just works. Like, and you do the chop, and it's effortless, and whoever you do to is on the ground, and you got the smelling salts, and you're worried at this point, I know I was, that, you're going to get in some serious trouble because, you were told not to do it, and you did it anyway. And there's that. Back to the topic at hand. What do we do when we know some charlatans at our event? Now, do we stop sending invites out, and then do we vet everybody? I don't even know how that would work. I really don't. Or do we put the disclaimer out there? Now, that was the only solution I could really come up with, and I would like for somebody to help me out with this. Even post in the comments, because there's comments, or just I know that every episode we have a Q&A where you can ask questions, and we'll try to get answers for you. But I would really like to know what some of you guys out there in the martial community would do. How do we do this? Like I said, I think for me it would be something along the lines of putting a disclaimer on my event. Hey, look, we're Marshall Mays. We have this award ceremony that is open to the public. So anybody can get a ticket here. So just be mindful who you're taking pictures with. It could be a guest somewhere, this, that, and the third, or just something where you have that disclaimer that, hey, this was not this person. I was at this event, and this person doesn't really train with me. There are plenty of people that kind of come to these, and they're like even seminars. There are people who routinely will go to someone's seminar, and I don't. The jury's out with that one, whether or not you can say you trained under that person or not. If you attended 20 of their seminars and they're not all the same, and they're different, talking about different concepts, and you do that, and when they come around every year or whatever, then you attend all 20, can you reasonably say you trained under that person? I don't know. I mean, I would tell you no. Can you say that person, you did train under that person? There's some people that say yes, some people that say no. That's really one to really ponder, definitely. Lastly, I'm going to leave with this. This is another thing that kind of came up, and it says, it talks about the folly of the traditionalist. So when I say the folly of the traditionalist, what I mean is where one could make a comment, there's nothing new under the sun, that traditionalists will ignore new information simply because that's not the way it was done. We've always done it like this, and I always say it's the folly. Here's the thing. And I can talk more about, and I always bring Judo into this because it makes the most sense. In the martial system of Judo, Kano Sensei, if he were around today, would probably not recognize it. Whether it be the sport or the martial art, he just wouldn't recognize it. Things have changed. Now, the human body hasn't changed, but our approach got better. And even you think about the way football was played back in the day, if we want to talk in a way that everybody can kind of understand, or baseball or any of those things. Well, we know a lot more with sports medicine. We have a lot more information, to perform better in the gym, to build muscle better. So we have these things. We have sports medicine that has gotten better. We have more information, right? And with that information, we run faster, right? We're stronger, and even the way we process information has gotten better. So yeah, every time it's and to ignore good pragmatic information, right? To better understand what we're trying to do, what was trying to be perceived, it's just silly. However, on the other side of that is thinking that some of these guys of old, when they were developing kata and stuff like that, they knew everything. They didn't. They knew what they knew for that time. That's the truth of it. And to look and, well, I'm gleaming what they, no, really not. Because we're not coming at it from the same mindset. We're not, because some of these guys wrote what they might have been thinking at that point in time, but we're not living in those periods. We're not living in those times, and it's just really hard to say that we have it right. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. We've launched off of that information. Again, there are physicists and people now that have launched off of Einstein, you know what I'm saying, or Sir Isaac Newton and stuff like that. They've gotten better. based upon the information that we had before. I know our medicine has definitely gotten better, depending on how you want to look at that. You want to be cynical and say we just stopped curing things. We just found ways to just, keep you on medicine the rest of your life. And others, you can say that, we're still making advances even in that, right? And in the martial community, so where this makes sense in the martial community is I've watched these, some of you great guys, great individuals in the martial arts that really wholeheartedly want to hold on and preserve the old stuff as if it's new stuff. And I'm like, it's old stuff. Have it. Have it. It's there. Enjoy it for what it is. Teach your traditional kata because those are important. You don't want to lose the information. And I, for one, believe that kata isn't just about doing the physical stuff. It connects you into something, for me anyway, it connects me to something bigger. And as I'm doing my penons, it connects me to, Tode Sakagawa, Soken Matsumura, and stuff like, and it kind of, that lineage, and it's bringing me there. You know what I'm saying? Or Matsumura Soken, depending on how you want to say that, if you want to really be nasty about it. But, and it keeps me thinking about those who've come before me, and stuff like that. So for me, it's a little different. And I think for a handful of folk out there that do traditional kata, that's the part we always say, well, no, that's the part that never goes away. There's a guy who has reels out there, and I'm going to have to look up his name for next time so that I have it. And I'll remember this so I can bring it up. But he often talks about the penons, and if you're Okinawan lineage like myself, and talks about the bunkai. And well, again, in my system, we learn bunkai first, and then learn the kata second, and stuff like that. So that way, you're always working 2-man first, so that you have a better understanding of the information. And he often talks about how this is what they were doing at this point in time. This is what you see now, but this is what that is. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And he if you really research what he's doing, and yeah, he's right. He's right on the money. That this big grand movement that you see a lot of times was a really small one in the beginning, and now because the way they do it in kata and stuff like that, and all the other things for points, and when you turn something that was meant to be a way to defend yourself a way to really just defend yourself and stay healthy, I guess, but really to defend yourself, and turn it into a sport, well, some of that stuff gets lost. That gets lost. The information gets lost. Or when you stop doing kata 2-man and just do them 1-man, and you start to lose a lot of that. You really do lose a lot of information when you do something 1-man and then try to walk it back to 2-man. Or learn 2-man second. I sometimes don't understand why in the martial community that it happens that way, but it tends to. But I will say that, open yourself up. The knowledge is there. Meditate on the information. A martial artist doesn't get spoon-fed information. Again, yes, we don't want to spend all our time trying to glean something that's already been done, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the physical part of every martial system was meant to be mastered, period. It was meant to be mastered. What good is a combative system if it takes a lifetime to get good at it? That's the silliest damn thing. It didn't make any sense. It's like, did you meditate on that? Did you even think about that? When there's so many guys in the martial arts community say, really, I guess when you know better, it's willful ignorance. But in this case, we're just going to chalk it up just as ignorance. I'm like, and ignorance not in the bad way, but just ignorance that you just don't seem to understand. That combatives is supposed to work yesterday. Any good, effective martial system does not take forever to get good at. All this stuff the physical was meant to be mastered in less than a lifetime, a whole lot less. Now the spiritual pursuit of perfecting oneself, both mind and body, no, okay, all right. That is a lifetime. That's a lifetime pursuit. And that's where your mindset should be. If one so chooses to live in the martial way. You understand? And with that, I leave you with that little thing. But been all over the damn place. But we do miss you, Barack. I'm quite sure the listeners miss you. He'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I'm Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze, and thanks for listening.